If I had a freaking nickel every time I was late to stream, I wouldn't even have to stream. Oh my god. I'm here now. I'm so sorry for being late, chat. Hello, how are we all doing tonight? Hope you all are doing great. I'm doing okay. I'm here. I'm here. I am here. I'm alive. How about that? How about that? How about that? How about that? Yeah, I'm here now, man. I'm alive. Somehow. Oh my goodness. Don't mind me for a second. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'm doing. I am doing. Hang on. Yeah, I'm here. Oh god. I had a day. I had a bit of a day. Hi, welcome in. How are you? You can hear me? That's good. I'm glad I didn't freaking mute myself. Because that would have just been really fucking annoying. Yeah, I'm here. I'm alive. I had a bit of a day, but we're here, man. We are here, man. We are here. We are here. What the fuck? Wait a minute. Okay. Not me looking for video essays to watch. Can you ask me a question? Sure, what's up, man? What's on your mind? Talk to me, dude. Talk to me, dude. Talk to me, my man. This music is bumping. What even is this? I don't even know what this is. Oh, lovely. Absolutely. I mean, there's literally a pet channel for a reason. I think it's still in there. I don't know. Is it still there? Yeah, it's in there. There's a whole ass channel. There's a whole ass channel for that. There is a whole ass channel, so you are good, man. I don't care. Okay, that sounded mean. That's not what I meant. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. All right. What breed? What breed is the doggo? I must know. I must know. I must know what breed of doggo it is. I love how I'm looking for Warhammer video essays, and one of the first things I see on here is a video essay called "How to Radicalize a Normie." What the fuck? Oh, that's great. The algorithm probably figured that people into Warhammer are radical pieces of shit. Not all of, obviously not all of them, but there are those. There are those. There are those. It's a oh, wait a minute, hang on. Oh, is this one of the little, oh. These ones are a little weird to me because like they're not bad, I love them. But they are so close to like being one of like the fucking ratty little shitty little rat dogs that I hate so much. I love Yorkies. Yorkies are fine. I love Yorkies. But like Chihuahuas, I cannot stand Chihuahuas, dude. Yorkies are like, to me, they're like 3 levels, right? There's like normal dog, which is, you know, your Labradors, your, you know, pit bulls, you know, stuff like that, right? You've got like the bigger ones, right? And then you have like the kind of smaller ones. You've got like the terriers, and you've got like the medium-ish ones, right? But then you have like the tiny ones, which is like Chihuahuas and shit. I hate those so much. I grew up near a neighbor who had 2 little barking rats, and I hated them so much. They were so fucking loud. Again, they weren't terriers. They were, I love terriers. Terriers are awesome. They were Chihuahuas. And they were so fucking loud and so fucking annoying. Every day when I would like, not like every day, but like I used to like walk around a lot. And then my butt became grown into this chair, and now I stream. But yeah, and whenever I would be like walking by my neighbor's house, these little fucking barking rats would be like, meh, 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 meh. And I remember telling myself, if any one of those things fucking comes over and runs and yells at me, I'm gonna fucking punt it. I hate Chihuahuas so much, dude. That's no offense to anyone who loves Chihuahuas. I'm just telling you that I don't like Chihuahuas. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. I love it when I'm trying to do my thing and my phone blows up. It's like, bruh, couldn't have waited, like, I don't know, friggin' 3 hours? It truly can't be that important. Who I think it is. Oh my god. Chat, so I was just looking at this fucking Warhammer like video essay. One of the ones here is every Primarch explained in far too much depth. It's 6 hours! I was gonna be like, oh man, we should watch a video about Primarchs. But, oh shit. But, dude, I'm not gonna be awake in 6 hours. I gotta go to work in 6, well, not, I don't have to go to work in 6 hours, but I am not gonna be awake in 6 hours. So that's funny. Actually, you know what? We might start it. Ooh, wait. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. I just found one that's only like 40 minutes. And this is not a major kill video, which is good, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a major kill fan. Alright, let me go ahead and turn this music off. Thank you. Let me go ahead and Perfect. All right, chat. So this is a video by Wes Hammer. I don't know if you guys have seen him before, but this is Wes Hammer. This is the unique horror of each Chaos Space Marine Legion. Okay, but did he do every single one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He did. Okay, good. Good. Perfect. I just wanted to make sure. All right, guys, strap yourselves in. We're learning. I think I know pretty much everything. I'm willing to bet that he's gonna mention Demon Kilaba for Iron Warriors, which I do already know about. I don't know if any of y'all know what Demon Kilaba is, but if you don't, he's gonna explain it. Probably. Volume? Oh, right, I muted it. Hang on. Sorry, Jesus Christ.
From the virulent diseases and demonic parasites of the Death Guard to the demonic rituals and ritualistic sacrifices of the Word Bearers, for as long
my
as
favorite chapter or Legion, sorry.
Universe, a life for people living within the Imperium has been a horrifying existence. Within the Warhammer community, debate has raged for decades over which of the Chaos Legions is the scariest, but still to this day, a consensus has not really been reached. Much like Chaos itself, horror is multifaceted and comes in infinite different forms. Fear is a subjective experience, where one person may definitively state that there's nothing scarier than being captured by the Iron Warriors and dragged off to Medringar, as someone else may find the psychological horror and paranoia of the Alpha Legion, or the idea of being hunted by one of the Night Lords to be the subject of their worst nightmares. In today's
I make fun of the Night Lords all the time, and I make fun of Night Lords fans all the time. Because they're just my least favorite of the 8 Chaos Legions. But I will say, there is something uniquely horrifying about being hunted by a Night Lord's Marine. No matter if it's like even if it's like a Terminator, like, you know that thing is not gonna kill you outright. That thing is gonna fucking torture you and make sure that your death is very painful. Not to mention that their whole thing is like fear tactics, right? So like, they're gonna draw it out. They're gonna make you nervous. They're gonna keep you on edge until it's like the perfect time, which you never even know. I don't even think they know half the time. Anyways,
we're going to explore what makes each and every one of the Chaos Legions uniquely horrifying. We're going to be talking about what it would actually be like to encounter them in person, including all of the terrible things that such an encounter would inevitably subject us to.
Lovely.
We're going to get into the dark corners of their lore, as well as the real-world horror genres that were used as inspiration for their design, tactics, and philosophies.
Oh, lovely.
Also, before we get into it, a big thank you to everyone who has sent words of support or expressed concern after finding out that me and my wife were impacted by Hurricane Milton. Long story short, both our house and our studio, which is a separate building, got flooded. So life has been pretty chaotic and stressful, to say the least. We're staying with family, and I've got a makeshift studio set up here, so I can start working on videos again, but my schedule is going to be kind of all over the place for a little while. Current estimates say that we won't have our home back for at least 3 months, so that sucks, but thank y'all for being patient with me as I navigate through this difficult period. Even still, it could have been a lot worse, and yes, before you ask, all of our miniatures are safe. So with that good news established, let's dive headfirst into the
most important thing, obviously.
Everyone's favorite nasty boys, the Death Guard.
Oh yes. And a YouTube ad.
Sometimes things fall right into place, but other times...
Lovely.
With many of the legions that we're going to talk about in this video...
Sorry for pausing again. I don't think I've ever watched a Pancreas No Work video. Hang on. Let me just... I don't think I've ever watched a Pancreas No Work video. I should. I really should. Because it's flanker propaganda... That's crazy. Flanker propaganda is crazy.
Are a lot more subtle and require an explanation of their lore in order to get creeped out by them. But the Death Guard? It's the exact opposite. What makes them horrifying is immediately obvious just by looking at them. They are hands down the most physically corrupted and mutated of all of the heretic Astartes. Their bodies have been swollen and decayed under the weight of the Grandfather's bountiful gifts. I'm probably preaching to the choir
Lovely.
with this one, but if you're not normally a big horror movie fan, you might not be familiar with all of its subgenres, one of the most popular being that of body horror, meaning horror that derives its fear from the mutation, corruption, and violation of the human form. And let me tell you, body horror is something that the Death Guard do better than any other legion. Each and every one of their Plague Marines is a grotesque abomination, their bodies having become so bloated with disease that they swell and distend, their flesh often ripping open, causing their organs to spill forth and drag behind them through the muck and grime.
Oh, lovely.
They are each a walking incubation chamber for trillions of writhing demonic parasites, and a potent cocktail of every pox, malady, and contagion in the galaxy. These guys are trapped in a moment of time just before death, trapped in eternal agony beyond anything or anyone born in the physical universe can possibly imagine, yet they're still unable to die. Their stench alone is said to be so...
This reminds me, do you guys watch Burial Goods at all? There's this really good Burial Goods video. Hang on. It's like, hang on. It's like, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Yes, wait. Did it get removed? Hang on. Hang on a second. There's this really good video. I think it got removed. I think it got removed. Cause I don't see it on here. I don't know. Can I just like look? Hang on. What the shit? Okay, well, all right. That's unfortunate because that was a really scary, not like scary, but that was a really good like
horrific and indescribable
bit of a fiction that he recited. It was so good.
Not capable of processing it. To smell the raw essence of death that they exhume is not just to experience revulsion on a level not thought possible, but it is to risk both physical effects such as temporary or even permanent paralysis.
There he is, Daddy Mortarian.
Such as an all-consuming sense of panic that breaks their victims' morale and fractures their sanity. They are a living plague that spreads Nurgle's corrupting influence with every step, gradually transforming entire worlds into necrotic wastelands.
It's so lovely.
In addition to body horror, they represent the psychological horror of transformation into something monstrous against one's will. If you're unfamiliar with their lore, just like all Chaos Space Marine legions, they used to be loyal to the Emperor and mankind. But after
I have a
siding with
favorite
Horus
fruit?
during his rebellion, and after the treachery of
I don't know.
Typhon, the Chaos God of Plagues, Nurgle, mutated them into
They're all pretty alright.
condemning the Legion to an eternal existence of
I
rotting
don't really have a
servitude.
favorite.
Truly, the worst thing about encountering the Death Guard is not just that they are seemingly invincible enemies that incite fear on a primal level, but it's the fact that all of the corruption that makes them uniquely horrifying is contagious. To stand against them is to invite their plagues into your body. It is to know your death will not be quick, nor will it be painless. You will suffer the agony of decay in its purest form, kept alive as an incubation chamber, a walking ground zero.
Oh, lovely.
Nurgle's twisted maladies to everyone you ever cared about. Your body will mutate, and the moment death
It's
comes for
everyone's
you,
least
the second
favorite
your last
guy,
remaining shred
Typhus.
of hope welcomes the sweet release of oblivion. The true horror of chaos presents itself. Death is not an end, but only a
That's
stage in
lovely.
the great cycle. The sons of Mortarion will raise you once more as a plague zombie or a poxwalker, your consciousness shackled to a decaying form you can no longer control, enslaved just as they are to the grandfather's will. So everything about the way they look and what they do is pretty creepy, but it's also combined with a particularly disturbing personality that at first seems somewhat out of place. Rather than being bombastic, gripped by supernatural fury, or overwhelmed with zealous frenzy like other legions, All of the Plague Marines within the Death Guard are said to be bellicose and somber, characterized more by a profound sense of apathy. They don't bellow out war cries or challenges to enemy combatants. They don't launch spearhead assaults or flanking surprise attacks. Instead, they march forward towards their enemies at an unhurried pace, seemingly unbothered by anything around them. Their bloated, leprous forms know nothing of pain and are almost completely impervious to damage.
That note about the war cry, by the way, is true. Because you want to see something crazy? Hang on. If you go on, like, Lexiconum, right? There's a thing that mentions, literally, look, battle cry, none. They don't have, like, a, oh, foreign return, or whatever. No, they just, like, that's, yeah. That is true. So that is true. That is true. They don't have a battle cry. I think they're the only legion that doesn't have, like, a specific, like, well-known battle cry or anything. Anyways.
Damage. Wounds that would kill a normal man simply reknit themselves with supernatural speed.
Is that a Carcharodon? That's awesome.
If the Plague notices his own injuries, they seldom show any emotion other than idle curiosity or subtle amusement. No matter what you throw,
I do not have any
what
pets.
Tactics you attempt to employ, they never halt in their advance.
My older sister has a cat that I have posted pictures of before,
the creeping
but he's not mine.
They stand as a grim reminder of both our own mortality
I'm his
and
aunt.
that entropy
I'm
is
his
the
aunt.
true state of the universe, that all living things will inevitably rot.
Before we go any further, this video is sponsored by Into the AM. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of graphic tees, but the only issue is you find one that you like, and after a couple of times through the wash, it starts to
Word.
It seems like leaders
Oh, yes.
are destined to be. Leaders.
My
second favorite
If you were to encounter
legion.
One of the berserkers of the world eaters on the battlefield, you would witness a towering figure clad in blood-drenched armor, adorned with the grisly trophies taken from his victims.
This is like perfect placement because like these guys, world eaters, are like the exact opposite of Death Guard. They're loud and they're like they're just like obnoxiously loud and flamboyant about everything. It's so funny. They are so not subtle.
He is a walking effigy of horror, a visual representation of violence in its most distilled form. And his
I
eyes,
do need
which
YouTube
are
Premium.
fixated
I do.
unblinking upon you, burn with blood-crazed madness. He charges, moving faster than
Hey, it's
something that
Karn.
size has any right to. He doesn't hesitate or falter, and is consumed with an overwhelming compulsion to kill you and take your skull. Even if you're armed, it doesn't matter, as this unholy butcher ignores any wounds you're able to inflict and doesn't register any pain. So consumed
Karn,
is
my
his
beloved.
rage.
I
It's in
love
this
him.
moment where you witness the supernatural fury of the World Eaters that you realize that though he is still shaped like a man, there's no humanity left in that armor. This is a creature of bottomless rage, a hurricane of violence from which there is no escape. The World Eater's presence heralds not simply another massacre, but the complete and utter annihilation of anything that stands in their way. Each and every one of them has a particularly brutal device known as the Butcher's Nails that has been crudely shoved into their brain that strips them of rationality, empathy, and control. After somebody is implemented with one of these things, the host will forever be subject to mental and physical agony every minute of every day. The only way that they're capable of finding any kind of relief from this pain is during the heat of battle, where anger, rage, and gratuitous violence act as an antidote to their suffering. Such relief,
Right.
however, is only temporary.
Hey, it's a Mauler Fiend.
as
Or wait,
once
no, is
the
that a
battle is at
Juggernaut?
its end
Wait.
and their foes lay slaughtered, the nail
Is that a Juggernaut or is that a Mauler Fiend? I think that's supposed to be a Juggernaut. But Juggernauts aren't wolves. Juggernauts are just like big like bull things. I don't know. Anyways.
biting begins once more, kicking off an endless cycle where they will hunt for more prey. Now, the fact that they are an entire legion of single-minded, gore-drenched psychopaths, each with the strength of a dozen silverback gorillas, is scary enough as it is. But seeing as how they are worshippers of the blood god Khorne, there's a whole nother level to their horror elements. Not only does Khorne amplify their strength and bloodlust to supernatural levels, but For the World Eaters themselves, every act of slaughter takes on a ritualistic quality. Every kill is a bloody tribute to a god that demands endless sacrifice and is never satiated. They are no longer soldiers, but fanatical devotees who see murder as an act of worship. Their entire existence is a quest for slaughter, wherein their dark god demands they outdo each previous massacre. There is no limit to their violence, no cap on the scale of their atrocities.
Is that a
no
Lord of Skulls that I see there?
They
Wait. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Lords of Skulls are some of the coolest... Hang on. Side tangent here, guys. Side tangent. Lords of Skulls are some of the... like, the stupidest looking... But they're so awesome. These guys are... They are so funny. I'm gonna be honest, I have never seen anybody ever use this head on a Lord of Skulls. It's only ever been like this one. This is one of the goofiest like demon engine designs I have ever seen. It's so funny. And did you know that this kit actually has like a leg option, and that is for the... I think it's for the... Yep, this one. This is the Khitan Demon Engine. This doesn't have playable stats in 40k. It used to, I think, but not anymore. But like, I mean, as you can see, it's on the same sprue. It's part of the same kit as the Lord of Skulls. It's like a leg option. I don't even think... Yeah, they're like... Hang on a second. Yeah, because these were like... They were a thing, and then they kind of just like stopped really being a thing, I guess. Because like nobody really ever used them. I don't think they have stats. I don't think they have playable rules in 40k. Or at least like modern 40k. I'm sure they have rules in like, you know, older... Oh, that's lovely. In like older editions. But for now, or at least in like modern 40k, they don't have any... Lords of Skulls do. Lords of Skulls are still very much viable in World Eaters armies, at least. I have seen people run World Eaters lists that were 3 of these and Angron. Which is very funny. Yeah. Anyways, side tangent over.
No cap on the scale of their atrocities, and no endpoint to their butchery.
Matt, welcome in. How you doing?
They are not conquerors, but harbingers of a blood-drenched apocalypse. Now, I've talked to people in the community before that say that the World Eaters are probably the least scary Chaos Legion. And though I disagree with this assessment, I kind of understand where this mindset comes from.
Sorry to pause again. It's one of those things where it's like, Khorne is the most boring, hands down, is the most boring Chaos God. But that's kind of like the charm, I guess? That's kind of the charm, is just because of how boring he is. Because of how just, like, over the top and, like, kill me, burn, you know? To me, at least, I don't know, that's just kind of the charm for me. That's why he's my favorite. As opposed to, like, all the other ones, you know, that have, like, their own things and, you know, they're a lot more subtle. Khorne is by far the least subtle. I think as an extension of that, he becomes a little less scary, because you know that there's literally nothing else to his plans other than just kill everything. However, when you take into account and I'm sure Wes here is going to talk about this, but when you take into account the fact that, like, technically everything getting killed feeds Khorne. So, unless it's like a drawn out, like, slow, like, torture death, you know, like, an Ultramarine executes an Alpha Legion soldier, that fuels Khorne. Everything except for, like, you know, drawn out torture or like magical, like just like straightforward, just straight up death, which there's a lot of in this setting. It feeds corn, which is pretty scary to think about. But, anyways.
They are without a doubt the most straightforward and direct of the
Yeah,
factions.
right, like exactly.
The fear of the unknown. They have no desire to toy with their victim's sanity
Yep.
or inflict needless suffering on them. But let's be real here. This doesn't make them any less horrifying.
All right, Jordan, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out.
The Imperium. They are a legion of unstoppable butchers that revel in carnage. They seek to drown the stars themselves in oceans of gore and take skulls in the name of their dark god. I watch a lot of horror movies, and although slashers come in a lot of different forms, to me, the creepiest ones are always the ones that are most direct in their actions and simple in their motivations. Whereas the Night Lords kind of function like the Predators from the franchise of the same name, the Emperor's Children are like the Cenobites from Hellraiser, the Warriors are more akin to a Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or a Leatherface.
Yeah.
But honestly, a better comparison is probably the zombies from the 28 Days Later franchise, as they're not actually the undead, but people who have contracted the Rage virus. Now, if you've seen that movie, I want you to imagine that, but replace all of the zombies with blood god worshipping Space Marines. A, that's going to be horrifying, and B, I would absolutely pay to see that movie, even though realistically, it's probably going to be pretty short. The world leader's endless thirst for blood, fueled by quite literal nails that are shoved into their brains, and the worship of an unknowable cosmic entity that demands endless murder, if those things don't make a Warhammer faction terrifying, I don't know what does.
I mean, there are a lot of other things. Speaking of which...
Even back during the Great Crusade, when the Night Lords were still loyal to the Emperor and mankind, they were, to put it mildly, a walking red flag. They were the masters of terror tactics and would wield fear itself as a weapon to conquer worlds and bring rebellious populations back into compliance.
Right.
And the way they would go about doing this was pretty disturbing. You see, whereas other legions would show up and bombard a planet from orbit or lead a ground assault against the enemy forces, the Night Lords would deploy only a handful of Marines, who would then terrorize a local population. They would kidnap and torture figures of authority, mutilating them and stringing them up for the entire world to see,
lovely.
often broadcasting their victims suffering via Vox across every channel, including those in surrounding systems. The message was clear. This was only a small taste of what they were willing to do. The actions of a few
red flags are your green light, real.
Submit to them, and the entire legion was deployed. This was the fate of every living thing on the planet's surface. And honestly, this worked out pretty well. The threat alone was enough to bring dozens of planets into compliance. Now, however,
what time is it in the US? Where I am, it is 8:46 p.m.
The Night Lords have been set loose on an unsuspecting galaxy, ready to inflict pain and suffering
Welcome
on
in,
those
Dark.
that
How you
live
doing?
beneath them on a scale never before seen. Now, here's the thing. If you're a civilian living within the 41st millennium and you happen to be at the forefront of a Chaos Space Marine attack, it really doesn't matter which legion it ends up being, you're in for a pretty bad time. However, you might take solace in the fact that many of them will see you as an unarmed civilian as being not worthy of their attention. And
not the Night Lords.
Don't get it twisted, but your death will likely come via collateral damage. If the Chaos Marines are here to fight, then their attention will likely be drawn to adversaries that they consider worthy. If they're here to raid for slaves, well, you're certainly not out of the woods yet, but it's likely they'll target individuals with combat training first to be used as shock troops and
it's only like it's only almost 9 o'clock, and I'm already tired.
That they deem useful.
Oh my god.
It's the Night Lords you have the misfortune of being invaded by, all that goes right out the window. For it's you specifically that they've come for, and they will find you, they will catch you, and when they do, they will mutilate you in mind and body and subject you to tortures unimaginable for no other reason than that they enjoy hurting things that are weaker than them. To the Night Lords, suffering is so much more than just the infliction of pain. It is an art form, an expression of power and control, and an age-old art that uses the human mind and body as its canvas. They have an affinity for skinning their victims alive, eviscerating them slowly, or subjecting them to mental torment. The terror they spread, limited only by their vicious and cruel imaginations. These guys take so much joy in murder and cruelty that they will frequently launch raids against backwater imperial populations with no clear military rationale other than to kill.
Yeah,
Cries
that
of
that
mercy from
sounds
their
like a
victims are
Night Lord.
ignored, and survivors are rare.
Bricky's
They leave
favorite
behind
legion, by
only
the way.
grisly displays of desolation, departing with whatever material gains they desire and the gruesome trophies of their atrocities. In the aftermath of such an attack, to the untrained eye, this may seem like senseless violence, but those familiar with the sons of
Oh my
Conrad Kurz
god.
know the truth. This is
I'm
calculated and deliberate,
getting
a
deep.
display of both power and a perverse pleasure
I have
wrought from
fallen
an expert understanding.
I have fallen down the rabbit hole, that's for sure. Emperor's Children. Emperor's Children, without a doubt. Yeah, I have fallen down the rabbit hole so much to the point where I'm collecting the miniatures and I'm playing the game. I'm not like as deep as other people, but I'm still pretty deep. I'm still pretty deep in that rabbit hole, and I have no intention of coming out of it, I'm gonna be honest.
Of the human psyche. Now, just about everything about the Night Lords is disturbing, don't get me wrong, but the worst part is what they represent. They are a grim reflection of humanity's darkest impulses.
And okay, and this is the direct segue into Emperor's Children, so you know it's gonna get worse.
To many, they are mankind's darkest incarnation, or its most primal and distilled state, depending upon your perspective. They have abandoned any semblance of empathy, morality, or mercy, and exist now as apex predators that hunt not for sustenance or
I haven't fully
desire
read
to savor
any of the novels.
helplessness of their prey. The
I
Night Lords don't seek
know
power,
I have a
knowledge, or
few on my
salvation
list
with
right
other
now
legions. They seek
of
only
ones
to
to
destroy hope, spread terror,
of ones
and break
to read right now. So the one that I'm reading right now is the Word Bearers Omnibus. I plan to read some Horus Heresy novels at some point. The Infinite and the Divine I think is next on my list though. There's one other one. What was it? I'm trying to remember which one it was. I cannot believe I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but yeah, Infinite and the Divine is on my list after I finish the Warhammer or the Word Bearer Omnibus.
That one could, in good faith, argue kinda justifies their actions. A sadistic species like the Drukhari has a lot in common with the Night Lords, and the two frequently get compared within the 40k community. However, the Drukhari torture their victims because they've evolved to derive nourishment from suffering. The Chaos God Slanesh is constantly suffering away their soul, and only by committing horrible acts can they drive her away for at least a little while. If they didn't do what they do, if they didn't conduct their raids and inflict suffering on others, they would literally wither away and die, their souls then subsequently being devoured by She Who Thirsts.
Right.
But the Night Lords are not suffering from any kind of soul thirst. They do what they do simply because they find it fun.
Because they want
This
to,
may be
yeah.
a blasphemous thing to say, and I'll totally own that, but from my perspective,
It's not wrong.
the Night Lords have more in common with the orcs than the Dark
Yes.
Eldar, as the
That is true.
also are just doing what they find fun. Side note,
I also think, and he might actually mention this right now, I think that what the hell? Hang on a second. I think that the Orcs and the Death Guard and Night Lords, I guess, are like the three factions that are actually having fun. Everyone else is like, oh, this is grim, this is dark, this is terrible, I hate this. Death Guard, Night Lords, and Orcs they're just having a ball. They're having so much fun.
I know it's regarded as more of an action movie than a horror movie, but even still, the alien from the movie Predator was something that scared the bejesus out of me when I was a little.
What? Hang on.
Even still, the alien from the movie Predator was.
That is a cardinal sin. That is a cardinal sin. How dare you say the alien from the movie... Wait. Are you saying, like, the alien is in the xenomorph, or the Predator from Predator? Because that would make a little bit of sense, I guess.
Something that scared the bejesus out of
but
me
even
when I was
then...
a little kid, and was definitely too young to be watching it. It was a monstrous killing machine, wielding weaponry so much more advanced than anything at your disposal.
But see, and even then, this isn't even that good of a comparison, and I'm gonna nerd out for a second here, because I used to be really big into, like, the Predator movies, and, like, the Predator as, like, a character. most predators at least have like an honor code. So like for example, unlike night lords, they don't kill unarmed civilians. Like it's kind of a weird comparison. Tyranids, oh man, I love Tyranids. They're my favorite Xenos faction. I don't really know. See, they don't even really have I don't even think their brains can compute the idea of fun. Because they're not doing it for fun. They're just hungry. They just want to eat everything. They don't care about having a good time. They just want to eat everything. And I mean, I guess that's going pretty well for them. So I guess if one of them were to be happy, I guess that would make sense. But yeah, Noise Marines are just trying to jam.
Anyone other than an action movie star with a whole bunch of plot armor had no chance of actually standing against it. If it got a hold of you, it wouldn't just kill you, but skin you alive and use your remains to taunt and terrify your allies. The idea that this thing...
That is a misconception. They never skinned people alive. They killed them and then they skinned them. Sorry. Sorry, I'm a bit of a nerd.
Enjoy terrorizing you is something I always found particularly creepy. From my perspective, the Predator and the Night Lords have a lot in common. You could honestly just have dropped one of these Space Marines in and replace it, and it would have been the same movie. The biggest difference between them, however, is in the Predator films, it's normally just one of them or a small group. But over here with the Night Lords, it's an entire legion of sadistic, superhuman serial killers. So yeah, it goes without saying that the Night Lords are unbelievably horrifying, and they're definitely going to be a lot of people's #1 pick for scariest Chaos Legion.
I think, like, objectively, they are the scariest.
Oh okay, where do I...
But, oh, no, never mind, here we go.
Potentially the most sadistic, depraved, and downright upsetting Chaos Legion in 40K. There's honestly a lot to unpack with these guys, especially when we're talking about their horror elements. They are sadomasochistic, hedonistic sensation addicts who worship the god of excess, Slanesh. These guys desire to experience ever more extreme sensations and have been twisted into a depraved band of sadistic torturers by their desires.
Yes, the Emperor's Children. These guys are so funny because their war cry is still for the Emperor.
Kill out of a sense for duty or even hatred. They do it for...
That goes so hard. That image goes so hard. What the hell? Oh my god. A Noise Marine on top of a freaking I'm pretty sure this is a Defiler. A Noise Marine on top of a Defiler. That is so cool. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the hang on. Did you guys ever watch Mad Max Fury Road? That reminds me of this guy. This motherfucker who was just like riding on a giant just like speaker truck with like a flamethrower guitar. It's so cool. Every time I rewatch that movie, I always think of this right here, a fucking Noise Marine.
Pleasure for the thrill of breaking minds and bodies.
Actually, wait a minute. Can I like reverse image search this? I want to hang on. I'm gonna go to Google because Microsoft Edge sucks. Noise Marine art. Do you want to type? Thank you. I want this as a wallpaper. Can I like hang on? Can I no, okay. I wanna like I wanna see if I can find that art because that is so cool. This right here, that art is also so cool. Anytime I see a Noise Marine with a guitar, it's like, oh hell yeah. See, like I like the ones that have like the sonic weapons, like the big cannons and everything. And that's more like the realistic ones, but whenever I see the ones with the guitars, that's always more of like a hell yeah. Like if I was a Noise Marine, I wouldn't have a sonic blaster, I would have a guitar. I barely know how to oh my god. I barely know how to play the guitar, but I would learn it if it gave me the chance to be a Noise Marine. This is so real. This is so real. That is so real. Where is it? God, I'm trying to hang on. I'm sure I'm not gonna find this, and I'm just gonna have to go back to the video. Where is it? God, that is so cool. I want that as like a wallpaper or something. That is so freaking cool, man. All right, anyways.
They do it for pleasure, for the thrill of breaking minds and bodies in new and inventive ways. To them,
yeah, Emperor's Children have the coolest art.
A realm where limits are made to be destroyed, boundaries shattered, and taboos broken. Nothing is ever enough for them. No sensation.
Actually, wait, hang on.
With every year
I'm gonna go ahead and watch. Okay, I'm gonna wait till this bar goes away, and then I'm gonna screenshot this. That is so cool. Oh, is it not gonna? Okay, hang on. Hang on. Bruh. God, that's such a cool. Can I like? What if I just like? Whack. Does that just take a screenshot? I think that just takes a screenshot. God damn it. It has come to this. It has come to screenshotting YouTube videos for cool wallpapers again. Oh, the mighty have fallen. Alright, anyways.
For pleasure, for the thrill of breaking minds and bodies in new and inventive ways. To them, existence is a canvas for sensation, a realm where limits are made to be destroyed, boundaries shattered, and taboos broken. Nothing is ever enough for them, no sensation too extreme. With every year of their existence that they continue to blight the physical universe, their depraved God continues to push them to commit ever more abominable acts. The sheer boundless depths of their depravity makes them one of the most unique and terrifying Chaos Legions in existence. It should probably go without saying, but being captured by one of these guys is, like all things with the Emperor's Children, pretty extreme.
Oh,
There's no limit to the pain and suffering they will inflict upon you. And literally anything you can imagine right now that they could possibly do to you is something that they would probably find quaint and benign. These guys have spent millennia sampling the
oh my god,
and exquisite agony.
That's so fucking funny. Wait a minute. Wait, hang on.
These guys have spent
oh my god. This is like the hang on. I have to Is this it? Is this no wait, hang on. God, there's this one fucking oh my god, wait, hang on. There's this one really funny picture of this cat, Zazu, that somebody like edited. That reminds me of that. Hang on. Where is it? This one right here! This one right here! Tell me that that is not similar. Oh my god. Oh man.
Sampling the most esoteric and exquisite agonies from every corner of the galaxy and across dimensions. Now, I'm just gonna be honest.
Hey, there they are.
About the Emperor's Children is disturbing in one way or another.
They rock, dude.
All of it's fantasy, so when I'm reading about it, like, it creeps me out, but kind of like enough safe, fun way. But the thing that really gets under my skin with them, the thing that creeps me out more than any other faction of Chaos does, is their perverse pseudo-sexual joy they take from agony, whether that be inflicted on their victims or themselves. But I don't know, man, like a horror movie slasher that is also figuratively and somewhat literally horny for murder is a billion times more upsetting to me. Now, in an admittedly vain attempt to not get this video demonetized, I'm not going to fill this segment with specific examples of terrible things that they've done to people.
Yeah, that's
Check
probably
out
a good idea.
Marine deep dive if you want some examples of that nature. But just
God, Noise Marines are so cool.
How their minds work, I want to share with you an example that starts off kind of benign and then ends up in pretty disturbing territory real quick. In the novel Lord of Excess, we're introduced to a member of the Emperor's Children known as Xantine. Now, he started experimenting with a new type of sensation that's foreign to all Space Marines, the sensual touch of somebody that loves you. The book literally opens with him seemingly copulating with a demon.
Oh.
Now, it's revealed they're not actually doing the deed. That's not what he's fixated on. The feeling of another skin against your own, their warm breath against your neck, the weight of their body pressed against you. the feeling of their heart beating just under your fingertips. As a sexless tool of war, Space Marines don't really get to experience any of this.
I was gonna say, this is like basic human affection. The worst drug of all to any Emperor's Children. Genuine human connection.
So he's become obsessed with it. This is a new sensation for him to explore.
Oh my
However,
god.
the reason he's seeking out these sensations in the first place is because this guy has a particular fixation on lovers when choosing his victims. He said that it's the way that they would look at each other right before they died, the way they would throw themselves in front of him, sacrificing their lives to buy another time to escape. The suffering of lovers was a sensation more delectable to Xantine than any other. You see what I mean? The spectrum of sensation here goes from kinda sweet to disturbing really quick. Anyways, the Emperor's Children
That's
draw a lot
Emperor's
of
Children for
comparisons
ya.
to the Night Lords for obvious reasons. They're both torture enthusiasts, but there's a few critical differences between them. The Night Lords are predators that hunger for a sense of power over others. By spreading fear throughout the week, they cement themselves atop the food chain in a galaxy full of monsters. Now, don't get me wrong, there are elements of this within the Emperor's Children as well. And
Jesus
although
H.
they can
Christ.
appreciate the Night Lord's taste, they see their palates
Oh my
as
god.
ultimately
Dark,
timid
thanks for
and
the sub.
defined,
I always
rooted
forget
by
that
a
that
lack of
frickin' noise alert.
imagination,
I
or
always
fashions
forget about it.
delight in the suffering of others. But unique to the Emperor's Children is the routine infliction of suffering upon themselves, whether that take the form of filling their armor with razor blades, mutilating their own bodies, ingesting venoms and poisons from the galaxy's most dangerous animals, or augmenting their ears in order to better appreciate extreme auditory sensation. Sounds that by themselves are so loud they can shatter minds and liquefy flesh. No matter what form these sensations take, they savor
I love
each
Noise
agony
Marines,
with a
dude.
perverse delight. For the Night Lords, terror and fear are everything. And the Emperor's Children appreciate this, and they understand that fear can come in a million different forms with a million different types of sensations. It's multifaceted and complex, but even still, it's only a single fiber in the tapestry of emotion and human experience. And in a galaxy full of unsampled pains and pleasures, the sadistic appetites of the Emperor's Children are never truly satiated. Before we move on to the next legion, there is one more horror element about the Emperor's Children that I
Who's
think
next?
is important to talk about. You see,
Thousand
as deranged and
Suns.
sadistic as they are, their path into damnation is a mirror of many people's own experiences. And I'm not even talking about actually battling addiction or anything like that, because I'm certainly not equipped to talk about something that heavy. But whereas the path of corruption for other legions is something that many of us can look at and confidently say that we would never fall victim to, with the Emperor's Children, it's not that simple. The simple pursuit of trying to get better at something, enjoying the taste of a well-prepared meal, taking pride in your accomplishments, feeling joy when you see someone you care about
Oh my
smile.
god.
These are all sensations, and the ability to perceive sensation is a critical aspect of what it means to be human. The fact that this has been perverted into a gateway to excess and madness is kinda terrifying to me. Right now, and even back when they were loyal, the Emperor's Children were obsessed with being perfect. And though this is something that we can meme on, the core desire of wanting to improve at something that you care about is something that each and every one of us can relate to. You see, they're not only horrifying because of what they'll
This is
do to you
true.
physically, but mentally, they horrify us because they are us. They are a dark reflection of our most basic instincts and our most primal desires, taken to their most extremes. They represent a warning of what lurks just beyond the boundaries
God,
of
that
our
old Noise
ambitions,
Marine art will
a
always go
bottomless
hard.
well of madness and obsession.
And meanwhile, back in some vanilla
Of all the
territory.
Chaos Legions, to me, the Thousand Sons are the most Lovecraftian, and exemplify many of the terrifying
Shadow
elements
Wizard
commonly
Money Gang.
associated with cosmic
We love
horror.
casting
Much like how
spells.
in H.P. Lovecraft's stories, the characters are almost always scholars, researchers, scientists, or some other form of truth seeker. So too are the Thousand Sons warrior academics who sought to learn the truth from reality. Like many Lovecraftian characters, the Thousand Sons would end up digging too deep,
God.
uncovering the forbidden secrets of the universe that were horrible, indescribable, and best left forgotten, such as the knowledge that dwelling just beneath the surface of reality were ancient godlike entities that
Hey,
viewed
wait.
mankind as nothing more than playthings. I find it fitting that
That image is incorrect. That image is incorrect. It's missing a vital a vital component here. It's missing a vital component. It's missing. It's missing a vital. It's missing something there. Oh my god. I love the Great Horned Rat so much. I'm sorry I keep pausing chat. I love the Great Horned Rat so much. Hey Dragon, welcome in. But this is not an Age of Sigmar video. This is a 40K video, so
entities that viewed mankind as nothing more than playthings. I find it fitting that out of the 4 chaos gods, the one that they worship, Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways, perhaps has the most in common with Lovecraft's Great Old Ones, and draws the most inspiration from his mythos.
Oh my god.
He is an unknowable being that lurks in the dark corners of space and time, whose true form is as inscrutable as his goals, whose nature is so terrible.
Can I pause again real quick? I'm so sorry, chat. Let me, oh, what the fuck? This one time, hi. This one time, this was not on stream, but I got so incredibly baked that I had this dream, right? And in this dream, I was talking to, I think it was Tzeentch, but I'm not sure. And I asked him all these questions and I got all these like crazy answers that I was telling myself like, oh, I'm gonna remember these when I wake up and I'm gonna like, it's gonna be crazy. And then I forgot them and I'm so mad. It was like genuinely one step away from a religious experience. Anyways.
Incomprehensible that if an untrained mind was to catch but a glimpse of his
I'm not joking, by the way, this actually happened.
Inescapable madness. The fear
Shadow Wizard Money Gang, real. Yeah, dude.
Force or bloodlust, but the dark, incomprehensible depths of forbidden knowledge. They are scholars of the arcane, weavers of dark sorcery, and seekers of eldritch lore who willingly trade their sanity for power. 10,000 years ago, the Thousand Sons swore an oath to gather and safeguard knowledge, utilizing the wisdom of the cosmos to protect.
Oh my god, my model's tweaking out.
Now, in the grimdark future, the very knowledge they once sought to wield as a tool of enlightenment is instead wielded to bring about ruination and madness, their sorcerous gifts having proven to be a curse that led them down a dark path into damnation.
They don't care though, do they?
Space and time and even reality
I don't think they do.
Are pliable materials. To fall victim to them is to be violated on every level. They can bend your sanity well past its breaking point and twist your flesh into grotesque and unknowable forms. I was
gonna say, yeah, these guys don't even have to touch you.
Force you to relive your worst memories over and over, or expose you to truths so terrible you are left irreparably insane.
Or, if you want to be funny, I cast testicular torsion.
Now, the nature of change and the influence of Tzeentch know no limitations, so it's possible they will submit you to any one of these or other infinite possible scenarios. To confront them is to confront
I'm gonna regret doing that later.
Power of sorcery, but to unknowingly step into a trap set eons before, woven across dimensions through layers of manipulation and deceit. It is to face your own insignificance within an uncaring universe. It is to understand that every action you have ever taken, thought you have ever had, and every choice you have ever made was predicted, manipulated, and used against you by entities older than time itself that defy mortal comprehension. As wielders of the terrible truth of reality,
Thousand Sons are so cool. They're definitely the trippiest of the Chaos Marines, I think.
That they leave the victim shattered in ways that transcend physical
They're definitely the
harm.
drippiest.
To me, the most horrifying, creepy thing about the Thousand Sons is
Tungsten
what they
ball
represent.
sack.
They remind us that even the greatest minds can fall, even the most noble of pursuits end in endless suffering, that even those who seek something as simple as the truth can end up damning themselves and countless others, all dragged kicking and screaming into the
truth, you say?
uncaring abyss.
I was literally about to say all I ever wanted was the truth, and that was a Lorgar thing.
Itself, chaos comes in a
God.
different forms, each scary in their own unique way. Now, some legions may be dedicated to one chaotic path more so than the others, but the word bearers stand apart from their
Word
kin
bearers, my
as
beloved. These guys are my favorite legion.
Chaos undivided. Because of this, all of the horrifying elements of each legion are readily on display here. Now, what makes them uniquely terrifying, though, is their fanatical devotion to the Chaos Gods. Their horror is one of corruption and possession, of religious fanaticism, and a twisting malign influence that warps and enslaves the soul. They are missionaries of damnation who spread the primordial truth.
I
The
love
Chaos
them.
Pantheon
I
are the
love
true
them.
gods of this universe, and humanity's submission to them is inevitable. The same
I love
reverence
the
that
word
they once
bearers.
had for the God Emperor and the holy expansion of the kingdoms of humanity has now been twisted into the exact opposite extreme. Theirs is a profoundly disturbing faith that they adhere to so completely that they are rendered utterly remorseless, dangerously creative in their cruelty, and characterized by an affinity for ritualistic atrocities.
They're choir
Whereas
boys.
other Chaos Space Marines
Yeah.
may be motivated by personal glory, a desire for conquest, or selfish gains. The Wordbearers seek only truth through unholy acts of devotion committed in the name
Hey
of
Jordan,
the
welcome
Chaos
back. Have a good night,
Gods.
dude.
Such desires
Thanks
are
for popping
perhaps
back
even
in.
more terrifying, as their faith renders them impervious to reason, logic, and fear. There is no bargaining with the Wordbearers, no chance for mutual understanding, and no room for compassion or doubt. They embody the horror of zealotry in its most extreme. Monsters who believe that every act of cruelty brings them closer to their dark masters. The Wordbearers have no moral compass in the way that we would understand it.
Yo, is that Saint Celestine? Every Gooner's favorite Warhammer character? You guys want to see something really cool? So, you know how... So, your modern day 40k possessed, right? These big hunks of junk here. So these guys, their ancestors, shall we say. These are some of the coolest models in the entirety of 40k I think I have ever seen. So this right here, this is Argoltal. He used to be like one of like the biggest head honchos of the Wordbearers at the time, during the Horus Heresy. And then Erebus killed him because he's an idiot. And I hate Erebus. And then you have this thing again, and this is all like Horus Heresy stuff, unfortunately. But like you've got like dreadnoughts that are like, instead of just like machine, like this, it literally has like a finger on its plasma gun. It's so creepy. But then you have, where is it? Where are they? These guys right here. So these guys were the original possessed. These guys were the original, like these guys were like the original ones that got bound with demon, like just straight up demons. And the images are not loading properly, which is unfortunate. But like, yeah, they're so cool. I love the Wordbearers. Hang on, let me. That's not what I was looking for. Oh, these guys are so freaking cool, man. They're so awesome. There's something just so uniquely metal to me about a Marine that's not a Marine anymore. That's probably why I do like some of the Emperor's Children stuff that I've seen. But yeah, these guys are so damn cool. They're just like bloodthirsty, like I don't even know what to call them at this point, but yeah.
Nor do they know anything of restraint. To them, agony and fear are gifts to be given freely, and every profane atrocity they commit is justified. Whether it be mental, physical, or spiritual in nature, the more suffering they inflict on you, the more the veil between realities thins, and the warp's grip on our universe strengthens. Having to face these guys in all-out war, or worse, being captured by them alive is one thing, but often they or their cultist followers will infiltrate a world undetected, violating it from within. What makes them so insidious is that their corruption can spread from them like a sentient virus. Their dark apostles preach the gospel of chaos to the populations of conquered worlds, and through their profane sermons does the influence of chaos worm its way inside of you. The afflicted will be subjected to mental and spiritual decay, drawing them slowly deeper and deeper into the insanity of chaos. As it turns out, Words alone can be more powerful than any weapon in existence, an idea more unstoppable than any plague. By the time their influence is detected, it's often already too late. The spiritual core of the planet already swollen with rot. Entire populations have been warped into fanatical chaos devotees like this, ready to sacrifice anything and anyone to the glory of the dark gods. The rituals the word-bearers conduct are fundamentally
that is
designed to
adorable,
tear
Dragon.
open the
Dogs are
life
adorable.
and
I
let
love
demons
dogs.
or the malign effects of the warp spill into the material universe. These are not simply acts of wanton cruelty, but carefully planned rites that subject the sacrificial victims involved to fates far worse than death. In fact, quite like with the death blow, the release of death is not an end to suffering, as the victim's soul will be trapped for eternity, damned to the whims of thirsting gods and hungering demons. These
Nice cube up your ass. Oh my god.
an energy source
Yeah, no, I've always been. Ooh, a venom crawler.
Empower demonic entities.
I have one of those
demons,
right
and
over on
dark
my right
energies.
side here on my
The
shelf.
Word-bearers are not just brutal killers, but missionaries of ruin. To face them is to witness the annihilation of hope, order, and
I love
sanity.
Charlie Sheen.
It is to
He's such a
witness
goober.
The primordial truth of the
Did you guys ever
future
watch
that you
Return to Cadia? There was a Warhammer TV thing that was Return to Cadia, and it was, and like the main the main like antagonist force in this animation is a Gal Vorback. Let me see if I can find him. And it was really cool because like just like that character alone, like there's almost like a Venom kind of deal, because it's like you've got like the guy, the main. Okay, that's a shitty picture. Hang on. See if I can find like a good picture of him. You can't really. Actually, you know what? Let's watch this right now, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because it's very hard to describe.
The following is an animation of what happened to Cadia after it was destroyed, with a review at the end and spoilers for all those who
Oh, is this
wanna
just like
watch
the full thing?
video.
Oh no, this isn't
Let's
the
get
full
into
thing.
it.
So this isn't like the full animation. I hope this doesn't get the stream taken down.
Why do we linger in the shadows? Let's take their shuttle. Patience, mortal.
I'm gonna turn on.
You were wrong before. Wrong. It was always supposed to end like this. What do you mean? Your brothers didn't abandon you. They sacrificed you to me. Speak sense, creature. There is always a price to pay, Sariel. With the gods' blessing, your brothers tore themselves free of the Eye of Terror. And they knew what desperate bargains those of you left to die would make in the darkness. No, please. Don't be naive, mortal. We are far past such idiocy. No one forced your hand. Now, where were we?
So and I'm gonna play the rest of this in a second, but see what I was talking about? How there was a whole like Venom thing going on. It's two consciousnesses, two presences in one body, and they're jostling for control, and they're like, yeah, exactly, split personality, demon corruption. It's so cool. It was so cool. When I watched this, I was genuinely like, this is the best thing ever. It was so cool, dude.
Droll, how long?
I don't know. It's been a while.
We need to get out of here.
And this guy's just getting tortured psychologically.
This place is a monument to failure. The walls, they're whispering.
Hmm.
The walls, they're whispering. Ozia, stop!
Rip homie. He couldn't hang.
I've gotta get off this rock! And we will, but you need to stop!
Well. Yeah, that was for the best. That was for the best, I think. I think.
We're going now!
Your pilgrimage isn't yet complete.
Yeah, this part is so cool. Look at him, dude. So fucking badass. Blah. Mm-hmm. Whew.
We can take the shuttle. We can return to the Legion.
I told you, your legion is done with you.
No, enough! We are leaving this rock.
You chose to embrace me, Sariel. You welcomed this fate. But, very well. If leaving is what you desire,
I love the moments where it's like, I love whenever they have stuff like that where it's like a visual representation of who's talking. So like when like the Marine is talking, it's showing his face, but when it's not him, when it's the demon, it just shows the helmet. That level of detail
what you desire.
is so cool. It's so cool, man.
I tire of your craven puling.
It's so cool, dude.
It's not just a place.
Hmm. Then there's this guy.
Cadius stands.
Kaboom! So cool.
Choice. That is the true game. We live and die by the choices we make. But fear not, Sariel. You have eternity in my loving embrace to learn this lesson.
So
And what's
freaking
awesome
cool.
about
So freaking cool. It's so awesome, dude. I watched that for the first time when it came out, and I was like, what the hell? How do you kill that? Exactly. You can't really. Anyways,
Utterly
back to this
insufficient
video.
In the face of the cosmos, that the facade of reality hides only
Let me
in
move
a
on over
terrible
here.
nightmare from which there is no escape. Much like everything involving the Alpha Legion, their horror elements
Alpha
are
Legion.
not immediately visible on the surface. They're not crazed psychopaths like the World Eaters, nor are they living corpses like the Death Guard. Hell, honestly, if we start comparing them to their cousin legions, they seem, I don't know, somewhat normal. It's actually one of the reasons why a lot of people end up gravitating to the Alpha Legion as their favorite Chaos faction, especially if
Yeah,
they're normally
that's
more into
the lesson. Never never bargain with
They
demons.
embody what it means to truly be Space Marine renegades rather than slaves to darkness. But don't let those first impressions and familiar aesthetics fool you though, as the Alpha Legion is just as terrifying as any other Chaos Legion. In fact, I would go as far as saying they're a masterclass in psychological horror. The Alpha Legion intertwines its preferred skill sets of subterfuge, infiltration, and misdirection into a deeply unsettling presence that deceives and manipulates its victims. They almost never announce their presence in some grand declaration of war, instead choosing to lurk in the shadows for months, years, or even decades at a time, slowly chipping away at their victims' sanity, unraveling their mental safety nets of trust, loyalty, truth, and even their perception of reality. Both the Legion Space Marines and their mortal followers are trained in the arts of disguise and impersonation, as Astartes are larger than normal humans.
If there was any other Chaos Marine Legion that was like the runner-up for like a Tzeentch specific Legion, I think it would be these guys.
Their Space Marines
I
will
really
either
do think
choose
it would
to
be
remain
these guys.
hidden or take on the identity of naturally larger individuals, such as gene-enhanced laborers. Their cultists, on the other hand, will embed themselves throughout their enemy's society in every conceivable walk of life, from menial workers to military generals. Some will murder key figures and assume their identities, whereas others will join different organizations as new recruits that are suspiciously well trained in the exact skill sets they need to quickly advance their careers and land themselves in positions of authority. Once fully ingrained in their prey's culture, they will begin to pick it apart from within by manipulating the perception of others, influencing key decisions in ways that benefit the Legion, and sabotaging vital systems, all while redirecting any blame or suspicion back on innocent individuals loyal to the targeted organization. By the time their prey realizes that they've been infiltrated, it's already too late. By this point, the Alpha Legion has rooted itself too deeply to be removed, like a rapidly mutating cancer. Over time, their presence creates an environment of paranoia and distrust, where no one can be certain of who is truly on their side. If you were in the middle of this, you would begin to question your own sanity. You would be gripped by an overwhelming paranoia that caused you to suspiciously eye every person you pass as a potential enemy. Even people that you have known forever, your co-workers, friends, neighbors, even your own family members. You have no way of knowing who is a spy and who isn't, who is extending their hand in friendship and who is hiding a knife behind their back. To be the target of the Alpha Legion is to be gaslit on a planetary scale. It is to be...
See, Matt, that's just what the Alpha Legion wants you to think. What if they're not divided right down the middle? What if they're all actually on the same page? Or what if they're on like 8 different pages? What if they're, you know, you don't know, I don't know. Or do I? Or do I? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. This is the appeal of the Alpha Legion, I suppose.
Be plunged into an ocean of existential dread and have your sanity slowly eroded away whilst being surrounded by potential betrayals. Now, admittedly, the lore in this department is intentionally left vague, but there is evidence to suggest that the legionnaires of the Alpha Legion during the Horus Heresy and many of their warbands that exist in the modern setting are still loyal to the Emperor and his original vision of the
that is the one thing that I don't like. Because it started from like a 4chan meme, and then it like became like a thing that people actually genuinely believed. It's not. They are bad guys. They are Chaos Marines. They're just really good at hiding it. They're just really good at hiding it.
Whether this is ultimately true or it isn't doesn't really matter, as it allows them to operate under a veneer of complex morality and frequently justify their actions with the notion that they're working towards a greater good. To those privy to such information, this raises both profound and deeply disturbing questions about loyalty, identity, and the nature of good and evil.
God, Alpha Legion are such goobers.
So thoroughly that even when they've taken everything from you, Your identity, your sense of self, your morals, your ethics, your ability to trust, even your perception of what's real and what isn't. When you, a loyal servant of the Emperor, have nothing left but your sense of duty to keep you from going insane, they attack that as well. They do all of this from the shadows, 1,000 eyes watching you in the dark without you ever even knowing they're there. Now don't get me wrong, I love all of the Chaos factions for their unique brands of horror, but the Alpha Legion's methods of preying on the human psyche in order to foster an atmosphere of uncertainty and dread is a unique and chilling aspect of Chaos.
Yeah, Alpha Legion are awesome.
More often. Their presence is a constant reminder that in the grim dark future, the most terrifying horrors often lie not in the realm of the physical, but in the shadow of the mind.
Ah, here we go. Saving the best for last, I guess.
Seeing as the warp is
That's a joke. I don't like the Iron Warriors.
Emotions, and the Chaos gods and their demons are negative emotions taken to their extremes. It should come as no surprise that these traits are characteristic of many of the Chaos legions. But the Iron Warriors tend to break this mold, and are famously known for being mechanically cold and ruthlessly efficient. Everything, even emotional states, are a resource not to be squandered. They understand that even something like anger is finite and must be tampered and harnessed only in the heat of battle. Although they are perhaps the most heavily mechanically augmented Chaos Space Marine Legion, they are not machines, and though characterized by a lack of emotions, many Iron Warriors in the past have been shown to be viciously cruel and enjoy causing their victims to suffer. This is all to say that the Iron Warriors are truly miserable bastards who show a complete indifference to both human life and their misery. As masters of siege warfare, they often commit to long drawn-out engagements that are both brutal and clinically efficient, many of these assaults extending long past the point of victory. Whereas some factions would deploy in force in order to end things quickly, many of the Iron Warrior warsmiths will instead be aggressively conservative with their resources, sacrificing time to continue attacking the enemy's morale. Now, such warsmiths revel in the misery and feelings of hopelessness they spread, like a psychopathic child plucking the wings and limbs off of a fly, not out of malice, but instead a detached fascination with the way it squirms. To be on the receiving end of an Iron Warrior siege is to see everything you have ever known and every person you have ever loved meticulously picked apart brick by brick. It is to watch your world crumble under relentless bombardments long after your attempt to surrender was denied. It is to live in a constant state of dread and helplessness, where dreams of victory are crushed and even the strongest wills broken. Now, such an existence is bad enough as it is, but that's not the end of it. There is no end to the Iron Warrior's cruelty. It will eventually be revealed to you that your allies killed in the initial bombardments and those who died down in the trenches were the lucky ones. Now, as I said before, the Iron Warriors value efficiency over everything and apply this heartless logic to everything that they do. No asset is to be wasted, no resource squandered, including living human slaves, or simply the flesh as they often refer to them. Human beings are simply another harvestable resource to be gathered and deployed. Now, it's true that the dread practice of slavery is common throughout all of the
Hey, it's the Red Corsairs.
But it is perhaps most infamously associated with the Iron Warriors. If you end up getting taken as a slave by one of them, a lot of different things could potentially happen to you, and none of them are good. On one hand, you may be taken back to the demon world of Bedrengar, a twisted mechanical hellscape that festers and churns under a black sun. A realm of impossibly high towers and plunging dungeons, a planet-wide jail where billions of slaves toil endlessly under the vicious eyes of cruel overseers. Many will be sent to the savage morticians or their dark mechanicum allies, where they will be subjected to horrific experimentation. Just so we're on the same page here, this is the legion that created.
Is he gonna talk about it? Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Yup.
Slaves in order to birth more chaos.
Yup. I knew he was gonna talk about it.
Corralled into their void vessels and deployed to distant battlefields, set free into enemy minefields as a cheap and efficient way of clearing them. Or they might be given shoddy, borderline useless equipment and sent down to the battlefield against their own allies, as cheap and plentiful opening fighting forces that cause the Iron Warriors' enemies to waste valuable ammunition. Even if you somehow manage to escape from them, like maybe you manage to dodge all of the mines and make it to a relatively safe hiding spot, this reprieve is often short-lived, for the Iron Warriors will never allow a resource to be wasted. or worse, intercepted and utilized by the enemy. They will come for you, they will find you, and they will drag you back to their ships, where nothing less than a life of endless suffering awaits.
Lovely.
So here at the end of the video, I'll admit I feel kind of bad for leaving the Black Legion out of this one, but I guess so
he
because
did
their ranks
leave.
are made up of members from every other legion. So
I
all of
just
the
realized
horror
that
elements we
he did leave
discussed
the
so
Black
far
Legion
could be
out.
found there as well. Ultimately, I cut it because I was just repeating a lot of information that we've already covered. But I do think this is something very important to bear in mind with them.
Black
The
Legion are
followers of Abaddon
losers.
exist even more
L.
so than someone like the Word
Thumbs
Bearers,
down.
as chaos in its most undiluted form. To be in a world subject to one of their invasions is to witness a unique blending of different chaotic horrors. Yeah, sure, the creeping dread of the Death Guard is pretty terrifying, but at least they're slow. Well, what happens when it's the Black Legion?
So, Demon Kilaba was the genius invention of this one warpsmith. And it was on this world, and then I think it was a Uriel Ventris novel. I'm not sure. Hang on a second. Let me look it up. It was like, what was it? So I think there was some, so there was some Dark Mechanicum stuff. So this guy, oh, not that guy. This guy, Hansu, this was the guy that created the Demon Kilaba with some help from the English, with some help from the Trader Mechanicus, I believe. Yeah. So he was like yeah, he was, yeah. Oh, okay, it was Uriel Ventris. It was Uriel Ventris. This was the guy that heroically showed up and stopped it all.
And members of the Death Guard are fighting alongside the World Eaters. Now you've got to deal with plagues that'll cause your bones and organs to turn to pulp, while being chased by blood-crazed psychopaths. In a similar vein, it's trying to deal with the fact that you're being hunted by the Night Lords and
I don't think Fabius Bile had anything to do with it. I think he was off doing his own thing. I'm pretty sure. Hang on. I can just... let me... I don't think Fabius Bile had anything to do with this. No, he hadn't. No, yeah. I don't think I feel like he would have, but no. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately.
And subjected to their terror tactics, while also suffering from the paranoia induced by an Alpha Legion infiltration is, I'm just gonna be honest with you, sitting here thinking about it right now, I don't even have words for what that would be like. If I'm being honest with you, that would probably be my, all right, I'm a head out moment. But what do you think of all this? Which legion do you find the most scary? Are you the most afraid of all of the cosmic horrors of the Thousand Suns, the diseased and leprous Death Guard, or the Emperor's Children murder perverts? I'm actually genuinely really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this one, as we all have things that trigger different fear responses in us. Now, I love Papa Nurgle in the Death Guard, don't get it twisted, but I think because I was overexposed to zombie movies in the mid-2000s, I find them less creepy than the Emperor's Children, who
That's
honestly
valid,
I'd probably
yeah.
rank as my _1 in the scary department.
I think so,
my
too.
My wife, on the other hand, has tryptophobia, that fear of a bunch of holes close together,
yeah.
so she absolutely despises playing against my Death Guard army. Some of their models she can't even look at without feeling immediately disgusted.
Ooh.
Anyways, let me
That'll
know
do
all
it for
your thoughts,
you.
comments, questions.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Alright, chat. I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'm gonna send y'all on break. I will be back. I gotta go to the ladies' room. So I will be right back. Behave, please. I'll be right back. And then we're just gonna hang out for the rest of the night. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll figure that out. I'll be right back, guys. Hi, chat. Welcome back. What did I miss? Loki, hey, how are you? It's been a very long time. Welcome back from the dead. Chat, my mic was muted, but so you didn't hear this, thank God. But I literally was like going into my room. I know my model's frozen. Hang on a second. I'm putting on a sweater. It is so freaking cold in here. But I was literally I came in and I sat down and I grabbed my phone and it just fell, like it bounced out of my hands onto my table, then onto my chair, and onto my floor, and I freaking dove after it and I knocked over my water bottle. Thankfully, my water bottle is empty. It has been for a few days. I have not been drinking water, I'm gonna be honest. It's alright. Let me see here. What's a good burial or not what's a good pancreas no work video that you guys recommend? Ooh, wait. So you know how we haven't really done much Age of Sigmar? Let's do, hang on. I have an idea. Is this like fantasy or is this AOS? Hang on a second. Hang on. Oh my god. Okay, so this... Does this have... Okay, this is like old world. I think this is like old world. Does this have... Yeah, this is like old fantasy. Hang on. Oh god, I'm about to sneeze. Oh god. I was about to say somebody say like pineapple or whatever. That doesn't work. Oh Jesus. Oh my god. Yeah. I know Age of Sigmar is not as popular as 40k. But I wonder. Sure. God, this guy sounds like Auspex Tactics. Yeah, alright, here we go. Chat, if you are on the fence about AOS, I suggest watching this video. I haven't even seen it, and I already know what my AOS faction is, but still, just for you, chat, for you guys.
Thank you so much for joining me. With Age of Sigmar 4th edition just around the corner.
I can't get over how much this guy sounds like Auspex Tactics. Has anyone else said that he sounds like Auspex Tactics? Because God, he sounds just like him, dude.
Many players like myself are thinking about jumping into the game. So in this video, we're going to take a look at all of the exciting factions available to us. And
the thing that's so cool about AOS that I like better than 40k is how much more factions there are. So like main factions, not even to mention sub factions, right? Because you've got, I mean, in 40k, right? You've got Space Marines. Or you've got like just blanket like Imperium, right? You've got Imperium. You've got your Space Marines. You've got your Guard. And then you've got your Chaos Marines and the Mechanicus and the Trader Mechanicus and like, But I mean you've got Order, Chaos, and Xenos, right? And there's a few different ones of each, and that's always nice and everything. But in AOS, you've got Order, you've got Chaos, you've got Death, and you've got Destruction, which is a whole other thing. And it is so cool that there's so many more different factions in these subgroups. It's so damn cool, man. It's so cool.
You find the perfect faction for you. Whether you are looking to join the Sentinels of Order, Agents of Chaos, Bringers of Death, or Harbingers of Destruction, there will be something here for you. This will be a broad strokes overview of each faction, as there is a lot of incredible lore and detail to each one, which if you find one you're excited about, definitely dive into further. Plus, with 4th edition starting off as an index release, I'm unsure whether playstyles of armies will end up changing, so I won't go into too much.
I'm still very anxious to see what Seraphon get for their battle tome this year, if they get it this year.
Detail on these in this video, but we will certainly talk about the incredible models available for each army. Just to make you aware, there will be 2 factions that I won't be speaking about here, the Beasts of Chaos and Bone Splitters. These will only be getting a digital index and support for the game until the summer of 2025.
That is one thing that the guy who got me into Warhammer was so salty about, because he was a Beast of Chaos player, and then they moved Beast of Chaos to Old World, and he was so upset. He was so goddamn upset, dude. I mean, it's valid, I guess. Like, if you had your faction and then they moved your entire faction to Legends, like, what the fuck? That was kind of how I felt with Death Watch, because I mean, I've said this a million times before, but when I first started Warhammer, I played Death Watch at the tail end of 9th edition, and then I switched to Tyranids because Death Watch didn't get an index, or they got one, but it wasn't a good one. So I switched to Tyranids, and then I switched to Chaos Marines. But Death Watch didn't even get an army this edition. They got lumped into Imperial Agents, and with Death Watch and Imperial Agents, you can't even use 99% of the stuff that you could use in regular Death Watch. You could use the Death Watch Veterans, you could use Corvus Blackstar, you could use the Master of the Watch, or Captain, whatever it was, and that was it. Those are the only Death Watch models you could use. And that is so just ridiculous to me. I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they did it.
Before going into Legends, so I wouldn't recommend
this music is
choosing
hype
one of
as
these
shit.
factions if you're looking to get started in Age of Sigmar. There will be timestamps in the description below and chapters, so you can skip to the faction that you're most interested in. And let me know in the comment section below which of the armies you're thinking about starting. I'd love to know. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. Starting off with the armies of order, we have the cities of Sigmar, which represent the mortal men and women, be they human, elves,
so these guys are like the Asper Militarum
the hateful age of chaos.
Of AOS.
They are now working together to build a civilization and slowly take back the land that was theirs. These regular people are the greatest defense for the strongholds of Sigmar against the endless horde of enemies that seek to cast down Sigmar's work. This army often guards the free cities built by the forces of Order around Realm Gates after the Realm Gate Wars to protect these key locations, with a wide number of other Order factions also being a part of these cities. The free guilds of the cities of Sigmar also make up the vast majority of the Dawnbringer Crusade forces to establish new strongpoints and impose order upon the mortal realms. In terms of the tabletop, the cities
Matt,
of
did you see
Sigmar
the
are
Chaos
a
Dwarf
large
release
force with a
recently?
huge number of units to choose from, with plenty of ranged guns, magic and melee options available to you. This certainly feels like what you'd expect from a typical army on the battlefield. They've had a fairly sizable range refresh recently, with a large number of the human units being redesigned and have some incredible sculpts. Talia for me is the model that pushed me personally into starting this force, and while the new models are somewhat fiddly to put together, the detail on these are amazing. That being said, the other 2 races unfortunately haven't had a refresh, and there are still plenty of older human sculpts as well. You can mix and match however you'd like, which makes building a force very versatile, and you can really add as much character as you'd like into your army. The Daughters of Cain are a deadly elf cult that worships the god of battle and death, Kayla Mencha Cain, or so they think. Their matriarch is Morathi, who utilizes her magic to cloak her true form.
It's Mommy Morathi.
She worked with the other elven gods to trap Slaanesh and extract the lost souls of the elves trapped within. For helping, she claimed the Cain-worshipping followers for herself. During the Broken Realms, she finished a ritual to complete the apotheosis that she craved and became the deity Morathi Cain. The Daughters of Cain are a fanatical and bloodthirsty group, believing that offerings of blood and endless warfare pleases Cain. As they fight, they enter a frenzy,
Cain or
becoming more
corn?
deadly and ignoring wounds. They are a fast and aggressive army, relying on overwhelming attacks and brutal efficiency. They are lightly armoured, but make up for it with ferocity. The Daughters of Cain are one of the fastest armies in the game and epitomise the glass cannon playstyle. Quick, weaker units with lots of attacks to cut up the enemy before they can hit back. And they only get more powerful as the game goes on through synergies.
Okay.
Model-wise, they are a force of some clothing-challenged female elves, which have some incredible sculpts with the newer Croneseer and of course Morathi herself, which is a piece of art. There is also a fair amount of
Morathi, the Fulgrim proxy.
variety here in the modelling with the snakes or winged bodies alongside the iconic Cauldron of Blood. Plenty to get your teeth into if you like the sound of this faction. The Fire Slayers are a Dwarden warrior culture who worship the fallen warrior god Grimnir, who died while killing the god beast Volcatrix during the Age of Myth. Since then, they have offered their services as mercenaries to any who would pay. Not to satisfy greed or their battle lust, but for Urgold, which is a mystical treasure which only the Fire Slayers are capable of identifying from more mundane metals. They believe this contains the divine essence of Grimnir himself, and should enough be collected and harnessed in battle, Grimnir may be restored. Fire Slayers are recognisable for their almost bare-chested appearance, elaborate tattoos, and waxed and dyed mohawks. They wield magma-forged weapons and fight with a fury that is both terrifying and glorious. Urgold sigils are pounded into their flesh, not only to feel more connected to their god, but to unleash his power in battle, boosting their already great strength and skill to supernatural levels.
Alright.
Everyone knows the Sons of Grimnir take honour very seriously, and their oath is unbreakable once given. The Fire Slayers are a visually iconic looking army, being fairly elite and a heavy focus on melee combat. But don't be fooled by their lack of attire.
God, the models look so freaking cool, dude.
With some cool once per game abilities in their runes to utilise at key moments. While they don't have the biggest range of units to choose from, they do have some great looking characters and the incredible magma drafts at their disposal. Plus a fairly straightforward painting project here, which you'll certainly have the ability to push a lot further should you wish to. The Idoneth Deepkin were created by Teclis to act as successors to the elven races of the world that was. Unfortunately, they bore a spiritual trauma from the time within the belly of Slaanesh and shunned Teclis' teachings, causing him to try and kill them. They fled beneath the oceans, and once there, they made a horrific discovery that their young were born with weak and feeble souls. They found out that the only way to preserve them was to steal the souls of other living beings to avoid extinction. On the tabletop, they have a good mix of infantry and faster moving larger models, plus a lot of really cool looking cavalry units. They synergize really well with one another alongside some great magical abilities, and with the Eidolon and Leviathan being the main centerpieces to an incredible looking force. If you enjoy painting sea creatures like everyone's favourite crab and octopus, then this may well be the army for you.
That's so funny.
The Caradron Overlords were
the
descendants
these guys.
of the Cavalid Empire and were driven to the skies during the Age of Chaos, foregoing their old ways to do so. In time,
these guys are like my second choice for an AOS army. Right now I'm building Seraphon, but these guys are like my close second.
They created a technologically advanced empire in the clouds by leveraging the substance known as Aether Gold. With this, they created incredible sky vessels, amazing scientific discoveries, and some utterly deadly weaponry.
Shit straight out of Bioshock, man.
The culture of the Caravan Overlords is mercantile, meritocratic, and pragmatic. They prize three things above all else: relentless innovation, boundless ambition, and the application of overwhelming firepower. To these mercantile Dwarden, the pursuit of profit is everything. It's very easy to recognise a Caradron Overlord's force on the tabletop with the heavy steampunk aesthetic and the flying ships.
Hell yeah,
they
dude.
are a very
they're basically Tau.
shooting-focused army with some light melee elements.
They're like
and
Tau
a unique
mixed
playing
with
experience compared to other factions.
what are they?
Albeit very
Votan.
rewarding when you get it right. While they don't have the biggest range of units to choose from, the aesthetic is incredible, and seeing as you have a leader with guns in his beard, what's not to like?
They actually
The
did
Lumineth
just get
Realm
some
Lords were
new.
crafted by the
They did get some new. Hang on, let me show you guys something real quick. They did get some new models recently. There's this one like brand new one that looks so goddamn cool. This one right here. It literally looks like a Big Daddy, but dwarf. It's literally like a dwarf Big Daddy. It looks so goddamn cool, man. It's so freaking cool. It's so awesome. The Caradron aesthetic is one of my favorite aesthetics, like, period.
twin gods Teclis and Tyrion from the souls recovered from Slaanesh. The Lumineth were often mistaken for angelic beings of pure light, for they glow with the glorious power of Hysh. Their incredible intellects were once devoted to the arts, magic and philosophy, striving for perfection. This led to the Spirefall, a civil war where the magical energies used ended up unleashing demons of Slaanesh from rifts to the realm of chaos. By overcoming their arrogant tendencies and putting the geomagnetic spirits of Hysh at the centre of their existence, they are now the masters of the art of war and a mighty elven race who consider it their duty to save the realms from chaos, fighting alongside towering avatars who are the war forms of the realm of light itself.
It's the battle cattle.
On the tabletop, the Lumineth Realm Lords are what you'd probably expect from a high elf style army that is very powerful and have a plethora of options to suit your gameplay preference. This coincides with a beautiful set of models, with the Vazari being the typical bow, spear and sword wielding units, plus two distinct elite style units based on the elements of wind and earth, both of which have some incredible looking sculpts for your hobbying needs. The Seraphon are a race of intelligent reptilian humanoids
Seraphon on top,
who are
dude.
the lost children
Number
of
one.
the Old Ones, mysterious beings of godlike powers. The Old Ones had a great plan for all creation, a cosmic design of staggering scale. It is the duty of the Seraphon to enact this great plan, and in doing so, bringing about the defeat of Chaos, their most ancient foe. Their armies are made up of a few key species. You have the Great Slann, who have mastered the secrets of pure magic and able to use the power of Azir to create Seraphon from their memories. The diminutive Skinks are the skirmishers and priests of the Seraphon. Then there's the Saurus, which are the brutal reptilians and the mainstay of a Seraphon force, each with impressive combat powers. And last of all are the Croxigors, which are huge monsters
I love the
twice the
Croxigors.
size of Saurus, able to deal immense damage with their mauls and hammers. Whether they come from beyond the stars or the depths of steaming jungles, behind their animalistic savagery lies the power to alter the destiny of the realms. On the tabletop, this army is iconic, and one of the few that players of the old world would recognise. There are a few playstyles available, whether you're going heavy on magic and a plethora of skinks, to a big combat force with Saurus, Croxigors, and fast-moving, infinitely cooler looking cavalry. The range of models is incredible, and to be fair, if you're after a lizard riding a dinosaur, this is 100% the army for you.
Yeah, I love
There's also a
Styrofoam.
lot of fairly new sculpts as well, which makes this army a lot of fun to not only build, but paint as well. The Stormcast Eternals were once mortal heroes whose souls were plucked from countless battlefields in their moment of death
Something in my eye,
and
man.
transported to Azir to be reforged anew upon the anvil of apotheosis. This reforging process transformed them into supernatural warriors clad in Sigmarite armor, and they became the God King's weapons to fight back the forces of chaos. These warriors were then thrust back into the fight, arriving on bolts of divine lightning to take on the gravest of foes. And when they die, their souls return to Azir to be reforged once more and thrown back into the fight again. They cannot escape this righteous purpose. Although the price for their immortality is each time they are reforged, they lose a part of their humanity until they are nothing more than a warrior from the heavens. In-game, they are a resilient force that is a jack-of-all-trades army. They can do everything pretty well, and of course you can specialise in ranged combat or magic should you wish to. They have some incredible new sculpts coming with the reopening of the Ruination Chamber for 4th edition.
You're right, it probably
plus
was a
whole
freaking
host of
eyelash.
beasts
Oh my
and
god.
even dragon riders, which look fantastic. With the Stormcast being the main faction in each starter set, they are typically a good army to collect, as you'll always end up getting your battle tome first. They'll typically get new miniatures with each edition's release, plus they are a fairly easy painting project to get started with as well. That, and there are plenty of cheap models on the second-hand market to be able to pick up. Although one thing to note here on that is that there is a number of models not being supported in the new edition, mainly from the Sacrosanct Chamber, which are on the screen now for you. So if you do decide to take a look on the secondary market, I try to avoid picking up any of these. Last of the factions of Order, we have the Sylvaneth, who are fey creatures from the wilds of the mortal realm,
The tree elves.
particularly in Garan, the realm of life. These creatures are not flesh and blood, but bark and sap, living in perfect harmony with the forest and glades they call home. From dryads to tree lords, the Sylvaneth are each bringers of life, or to those who invade their homes, death. To face the Sylvaneth is to stand before the fury of a summer storm. They are the wrath of the deep woods and the sacred places they protect, led by their mother goddess, Alariel, who leads them with her spirit song. Hardened by years of loss during the Age of Chaos, the Sylvaneth have been forced to become a warrior race who are committed to eradicating all who would interfere with the natural order, and have become fervent believers in the cause of order. On the tabletop, this is a striking army of treefolk and dryads who utilise terrain in a way no other army does.
Yeah, these guys are
feel
really
like
cool.
a hit and run style force with a mix of powerful casters, buffs and movement. In terms of the models, you have a lot of really cool nature themed units, with the dryads, spirit revenants and tree lords being really great sculpts. But with centerpiece models like Belthanos and Alariel available to you, you certainly won't be struggling with fun painting projects. Moving on to the forces of chaos now, and we start with the Blades of Khorne,
there they
who
are.
devoted warriors of the most bloodthirsty of the chaos gods. The armies that fight for Khorne have sold their souls to him, and in turn been recognised for their prowess on the battlefield. They plunge headfirst into the most savage and hate-fueled fighting imaginable, earning their lord's favour with each skull they claim. With their raw skill, the mortal and demonic followers of the Blood God leave regions as gore-slick wastelands, dotted with piles of headless corpses. They are an uncomplicated army, but while their savagery is fairly simplistic, it's seen them triumph time and time again. On the tabletop, you may have guessed this is a heavy combat-focused army, utilising prayers to buff their killing potential. You have a variety of units to choose from, whether it's the demons or human units, with a large amount of flesh tones, armour and trim. While the trim can get a little off-putting for some, granted it's a lot less than their 40k counterparts, it's a great hobby project, and with access to a greater demons, it's a really cool army to field on the tabletop. Especially if you want a fairly simplistic run forward and smash your enemy in the face really hard playstyle. The Disciples of Tzeentch, on the other hand, are completely different. They lurk in the shadows, manipulating the strand of fate to serve their whim. They are the bringers of madness and pandemonium, and when they rise up in force, their foes are soon overcome by their masterful ploys and storms of blazing spellcraft. Tzeentch is the architect of fate, the god of change, ambition and magic. His devoted armies are filled with demons and mortals who are just as warped as the Lord of Flux himself. When he demands it, these cackling shapeless demons spill into reality, conjuring pyroclastic displays of magic to ensure that destiny follows the route ordained by Tzeentch. This, as you may have guessed, is a very magic-heavy army with some incredible casters, the Lord of Change being top of that list, and an incredible model. This is backed up by a whole manner of Zangors, humans and demons to overwhelm your enemy. This army has some really fun sculpts to get your teeth into, and as a hobby project, it's got a good variety of units to build, paint and play. Born from the excess of mortals, the Hedonites of Slaanesh come to bring ecstatic carnage to
here we go.
Though they may appear graceful, it's a sinister mirage as they are monstrously cruel, and their wars are waged as much to spread suffering as to achieve any strategic goal. The Hedonites are the favoured servants of the Dark Prince, connoisseurs of excess and ringmasters to carnivores of sin. To them, the battlefield is a celebration of extreme sensation, fear, anger, pain, and more besides, all for them to indulge in. Wielding cruelly barbed weapons and wickedly sharp claws, they eviscerate the enemy, extending every death so they may revel in the agony and terror they cause. On the tabletop, they are a fast army with good combat and decent shooting, looking to debuff the enemy and get stronger as the game goes on. While this may be subject to change once the index drops, the model range you have access to for this force is incredible.
You want to know what's really unfortunate? From what I've heard, nowadays, because this video came out right when 4th edition was dropping, from what I've heard, Hedonites of Slaanesh are the worst Chaos army right now. Which is unfortunate, but...
Which seems to be a very common theme in this video. They have a lot of great foot troops, and with the likes of Painbringers, Cavalry of the Seekers, up to the incredible Keeper of Secrets, and Sigvald, Prince of Slaanesh. The Maggotkin of Nurgle are entropy and sickness in given form. Charged by their disgusting deity, Nurgle, the god of plagues, with spreading disease across the mortal realms, shrugging off the mightiest blows and most potent spells with wet, gurgling laughs. Though Nurgle is a source of fear and revulsion to his enemies, he is generous with his foul gifts. His armies, both mortal and demon, bulge with virulent boons. These Maggotkin spread
oh my god, dude, I'm so tired.
Contagions, hoping to turn the world of the mortal
oh my god, this video's not even halfway over.
Garden of beautiful putrescence. On the tabletop, they are a resilient force that have access to some great demon units alongside the hard-hitting mortal ones, plus with some interesting tricks up their sleeve too. Hobby-wise, there are a wide range of units and great sculpts which are full of character, with one of my favourites being the Sloppity Bilepiper.
Oh my god, I love this guy.
I just love saying the name as well. Although with the Harbinger of Decay and of course the Great Unclean One, you have some excellent centrepiece models for the army, and they're also pretty forgiving to paint too. Hidden in the darkness, the Skaven clan scheme and multiply. These maniacal ratmen eagerly prepare for the day their numberless hordes swarm from the shadows and overrun the surface world. There is no one they would not betray, least of all each other, to achieve that goal. A knife in the back being far more preferable to facing conflict head-on. Their wicked nature is reflected in their god, the Great Horned Rat.
I love the Great Horned
who has
Rat.
become the newest member.
Yeah, here we go.
The Skaven have utilised warpstone to create hideous monstrosities, from their rat ogres to the titanic monstrosity of the Hell Pit abominations.
That thing is
Not
so
only
gross.
that,
Do you
but
guys
it's the
want to?
key material for their power.
I don't think it's gonna show it, guys. Check this out. Check this out right here, guys. Look at this motherfucker. Look at that thing. It's hideous. It's a giant like rat centipede thing. With like a bunch of other like little rat heads poking out of it. It's so gross, man. This is genuinely so gross. Such a gross model. It's really cool, but oh my god. Is it gross? Ugh. Dear God. Thing is nasty. It's so gross, dude. Alright, anyways.
Powerful yet temperamental weaponry in the form of warp lightning cannons and doom wheels. And
Oh, the
often
doom
my
wheels.
favourite memory playing this faction is doing more damage to yourself than the opponent. On the tabletop, the Skaven are the greatest army ever to implode. All jokes aside, they have access to really solid units in pretty much all facets of the game. Whilst they are high in numbers, they are very fragile. With the upcoming 4th edition, Skaven are getting a whole manner of updated sculpts, alongside being one of the first battle tomes to be released this edition. The new sculpts in the Skaven tie launch box look incredible.
Yeah, they
Honestly,
do.
This glow
They look
was
amazing.
much needed. So, if you're thinking about getting into Skaven, this is the perfect time to do so. While most Chaos armies are focused on a single god, the Slaves to Darkness are Chaos undivided.
Here are the...
These corrupted tribes and clans have long been devoted to the ruinous powers and hungry to tear the Sigmarite nations to shreds. They are the Hordes of Chaos, the Lost and the Damned. They were abandoned by the God King during the Age of Chaos and then ruled upon by fell champions, with Archaon the Ever-Chosen being the
Giga Chad.
mightiest of them all.
This guy,
Where the worshippers of the
Archaon, is like what Abaddon wishes he was. Archaon is like Giga Chad Abaddon. He's so badass.
Dark Gods march, the mortal realms tremble. Under the gaze of their dread pantheon, the Slaves to Darkness carve their way through all that stand before them in the pursuit of glory,
So badass,
seeking new
dude.
challenges and conquests along the way. On the tabletop, this army is very melee and character centric, and my word, do they have some incredible characters to choose from.
Oh, and then we get an ad. Lovely. Yep.
The new inclusion from the Dawnbringer series in Abraxia looks incredible to paint up, but with the likes of Bellicor.
Hey, look. Hey, look, guys. Hey, look. Does that look familiar? Does that look familiar, chat? I will never hesitate to make that comparison. That was 100% intentional. That was 101% intentional, by the way, guys. Just so you know. Just so you know. I really hope I don't get sued. Yeah, Bellicor is such a beautiful model. He's my favorite 40. He's my favorite AOS character. He's my favorite Warhammer like 40k character too. He's a stupid little bitch, but God, he is awesome. He is so awesome.
And of course, Archeon the Everchosen, you certainly won't be lacking.
I have both of those models. They're standing right next to each other on my shelf over there. So beautiful.
Any centerpiece models for your force. To back these up, there is a wide variety of troops, from your typical armoured warriors, knights, and more specialist units to the incredible new Dark Oath range that's recently been added to the faction.
Oh yeah,
These
guys.
Merciless Reavers look fantastic and give your army even more choice going forward. The Flesh Eater Courts honestly have some of my favourite lore in Age of Sigmar. Their origins lie in tragedy, although their deeds may well make it look a little bit difficult to look upon them with any pity. They originated from the lands that were cast into ruin during the Age of Chaos. They did anything they could to survive, and it's a little wonder that they'd end up turning to cannibalism. Although it wasn't until they drank the blood of the vampire Usharan, the Mortarch of Delusion, that they became the Flesh Eaters and shared in their liege's madness. Ruled over by monstrous vampiric creatures known as abhorrents, they live under the delusion that their kingdom stand proud against evil, eating feasts and listening to tales of gallant knights fighting to uphold noble virtues, even as they devour their screaming and often still living prey in bloody and horrifying feasts. On the tabletop, this army is
so
very
gnarly.
much geared around your characters, completing noble deeds that help to buff the rest of the massed infantry of the army, either in damage or returning models back to the battlefield, which is very much on theme. They've recently had a model rework with a lot of great new kits added to the range, which look fantastic. Not only the Crypt Guard and Bat Cavalry of the Morbeg Knights, but also there being so much character in their leader units, including a very spiffing wig made of intestines, plus the incredible Usharan model, which I'm trying to stop myself buying at the moment. There are loads of great options here to get into, and I'm sure you'll have an amazing time on your merry crusades with this faction. The Nighthaunt are an army of cursed spirits unleashed upon the realms, ravaging the lands as they surge forth like an ill gale from their crumbling mausoleums and sepulchres. They are sustained by fathomless hatred for the living, and these grim hosts of geists and spectres are the stuff of the darkest folk tales. Nearly all Nighthaunt were wicked mortals in a past life, and upon death their souls were ensnared in the chains of Nagash's warped sense of justice and bound to serve him forevermore. Remade through necromantic sorcery and twisted by his depthless spite, these are no mere ghosts. Their ethereal bodies glow with a baleful light, and their wailing can cause even a veteran warrior's heart to freeze with terror. On the tabletop, this army has a lot of bodies, and with them being ghosts, they all ignore rend, which is a pretty strong ability.
That is really cool.
They have a lot of characters to help guide their units and are pretty solid in every phase of the game. There are a lot of different kits to choose from, and you can get these onto the tabletop fairly easily with a quick paint job, or really go to town on them and make them a beautiful army should you wish to. They have a lot of great models, including the Black Coach, which doesn't really fit on its base properly, but looks incredible, so we can definitely let it off. Plus, with them being a starter faction in the 2nd edition, you may well still be able to find some bargains on the secondary market.
The biggest thing for me is reliability. Somebody that stands behind their word. You know, when they tell you they're going to do something, they're going to do it.
This is the newly redesigned Dell AI PC with Intel inside. It's not just an
Wow, that's crazy.
The Ossiarch Bone Reapers are Nagash's personal army of constructs. Each one is a handcrafted golem of intertwined souls and bones.
Hey, Towerman's welcome in.
By the Mortis cult.
They're pretty cool. They're one of the Xenos factions that I do actually not mind. I don't hate any Xenos faction, but they're pretty cool. I've always liked the idea of like a big space coalition, kind of like the God, what are they called? The Covenant. This is coming from someone who's never played a single Halo game in her life, so but yeah, no, they're cool. There's a guy at my local game store who plays Tau, and I feel kind of bad for him because nobody ever wants to play him because of how good he is at the game and just how good he is at Tau and how good Tau are as a faction. But he's awesome, and as a extension of that, I have grown to think that Tau are pretty awesome too. It's hilarious how they give themselves radiation poisoning. What?
They choose their materials with the care of an artisan.
Did they do that?
They splice together souls to keep the traits they want, like loyalty, obedience, and ferocity, while discarding useless notions of mercy and compassion. This creates an indifferent and disciplined warrior suited for the ordered warfare of the Ossiarch Empire.
Yeah, I haven't touched a single Halo game. Do you guys want to see something really cool? Speaking of Ossiarch Bone Reapers, there's this one model that they have. These guys are like fantasy Necrons, pretty much. This thing is so goddamn cool. I love this model. It is so awesome. It's so goddamn cool, dude. It looks like a freaking war dog. It kind of, I think it's probably, actually, hang on a second. Let me see how big a Gothazar Harvester is compared to, okay, great. All right. AOS. Where are you? Am I insane? Fucking. Okay, there they are. Okay, so we got one of these, and then we got... I just want to see what, like, the size is. Okay, so Chaos... so the War Dogs are... They're bigger. They are bigger, that's for sure. But that's really... Because, like, they look like... Here, let me move. They look like little miniature war dogs. They made a mech suit and used radioactive materials to power, but because they progressed so fast, they didn't know about radiation. Oh my god. Yeah, that sounds like Tau. That does sound like Tau. That really does sound like Tau. Alright.
They are led by Catacross, Mortarch of the Necropolis. He is perhaps the finest military mind of the mortal realms, and succeeded where Sigmar failed, by invading Archaon's lands and raising a monumental fortress around the Archway portal to Shaiish. Now his thoughts are proving the supremacy of the Bone Reaper legions beyond any doubt. They are a deeply tactical army on the tabletop, feeling very much like a Roman Empire, with a lot of disciplined infantry backed up by powerful characters and hard-hitting constructs. It's a visually striking army and some incredible sculpts all the way through. I'm a huge fan of this army,
yeah,
and
these
Catacross
guys
is a great looking miniature.
These guys are awesome.
I think the Morghast units just look fantastic. Obviously there's lots of bone too, which could well make it a quick army to get onto the tabletop with a fairly simple paint job. In the world that was, Neferata stole the infernal grimoires from Nagash in her jealousy of his immortality, in order to replicate the elixir he had created. Although she was in fact successful, she had become one of the first vampires in the process. She and the other vampiric nobles of the Soulblight Gravelords served Nagash as some of his foremost generals, a few among them even ruling vast swathes of Shaiish as his Mortarks.
Ooh.
They lead vast hordes of skeletal warriors and freshly raised walking corpses into battle, alongside a plethora of direwolves and fell bats to overwhelm their opponents.
I have a as part of my kit bashing process, a few kit bashing projects right now that I'm doing for my Chaos Marines army. I bought a box of the Deadwalker zombies from which are Soulblight Gravelords miniatures, and I'm using those as Chaos Cultists. God, those miniatures are such a pain in the ass to build, but they are so cool looking. There's this other new one that just came out recently. It's I think it's Soulblight. Where is it? This one right here. Okay, so not like the dragon, but okay, this one right here. Hellbrute Helldrake proxy? Like, I mean, you'd have to put it on a flight stand, obviously. But I looked it up on Mini Compare. It is the same size. So if you really wanted to use a Helldrake, I don't know why you would though, because Helldrakes are kind of dookie right now. But if you wanted to, and you didn't want to actually use the Helldrake model for some reason, you could get one of these. I'm pretty sure they're more expensive than a Helldrake though. Hang on. Yeah, they are. It is way more. It's like twice the price of a Helldrake. But yeah, no, literally, it would be a good Helldrake proxy. If for some reason you didn't want to use the Helldrake model, I guess. I don't know.
Necromancers and death mages ensure these undead armies remain full of vigor and resurrect those who fall.
But yeah, Towermans, thank you for the lecture on Tau.
Aristocrats constantly
that's kind of
push to
funny.
expand their holdings, for they will never be satisfied until the mortal realms are shrouded in night and drowned in blood.
Lovely.
On the tabletop, you have a lot of options here and a huge model range to choose from. Whether you're looking to overwhelm your opponent with sheer weight of numbers, backed up by powerful characters and magic, with the ability to resurrect your units, or you could go more elite focused with the Blood Knights for a very strong force, it's really down to you. Either way, you'll have a wide variety of great miniatures to choose from, and some fairly newer sculpts too, thanks to the Cursed City game. Moving into destruction now, and we have the Gloomspite Gits.
Gobos.
They are cunning and vindictive in the extreme. Their deranged grotty minds are forever spinning up fresh tricks and vicious ploys. United in their worship of the Bad Moon, these boggle-eyed grots and their odious cave beast allies may not be the most disciplined fighting force in the realms, but that hasn't stopped them undermining civilization with terrifying fervour. Their hordes pour out of the dank and clammy places of the realms. Under the malign light of the Bad Moon, they are filled with frothing mania, with their ultimate mission bringing about the Everdank. Should they ever succeed, the other races of the realms will soon find themselves at the grot's demented mercy.
At KPMG, we make
and
the
at the mercy of more
everyday
ads.
clients capitalize on opportunities that enhance.
The Gloomspite Gits are a vast horde of an army and can call upon a variety of units to deal with any threat your opponent presents. This army has a huge amount of character, and for someone that enjoyed the goblin aesthetic and the incredible squigs, then this is perfect for you. There are loads of characterful sculpts, iconic fanatics, and incredible centerpieces like the Mangler Squigs and the Arachnarok Spider Riders, all backed up by some less than intelligent Troggoths to do your heavy lifting. While you will need a lot of models for this army, it'll be an incredibly fun project to do.
Oh yeah, that's gonna have you sitting down for like
of brutish
a week
range
at
across the
least.
lands, raiding and pillaging to appease their insatiable hunger. These chunky brutes are monstrously strong, and what they lack in subtlety, they more than make up for in belligerent brawn. They are a living testament of destruction's creed of might making right. Food is central to an ogre's existence, which is in two states: stuffing one's face or hunting for meat. The butchers and slaughtermasters guide their tribes on their moor path to their next meal, and those that caught in the path of these moor tribes are liable to find themselves caught up and eaten alive, as they are bullish and bestial by nature. On the tabletop, this is an army that wants to smash into things and chop them up, although they do have access to good ranged options and more magic too, which grants powerful damage dealing buffs and healing those ogres if needed, which can really blunt your opponent's momentum.
Oh, word.
Plus, being able to feast on flesh at the end of a turn and heal your units that have been in combat is a nice thematic touch, which is also pretty powerful. Miniatures wise, you have a fair few to choose from and a lot of very flavourful units, although the Thundertusk and Stonehorn Riders for me are amazing looking miniatures.
Yeah, those look beautiful,
like a
man.
very new player friendly faction.
Those look
to pick
awesome.
up. When the Orruk Warclans are on the rampage, reality quakes. These greenskin brutes are obsessed with fighting and firmly believe they are the hardest creatures in the mortal realms. Every moment that passes without their choppers carving through flesh is a moment wasted. They are the children of the twin-headed Gorkamorka, who they fought alongside during the Age of Myth. When Gorkamorka split, the Uruks came to respect the different aspects and see Gork and possibly Mork's favour. Regardless of which, the Uruks find themselves overcome with the same primal energy in war, known as War. It acts as a savage dynamo whose call cannot be ignored, driving Uruks forward at the vanguard of destruction's unstoppable advance.
Ooh.
In 4th edition, there are two main sub-factions of these Uruks. First up is the sneakier Cruel Boys, who are cunning but brutal swamp dwellers who prize deviousness over strength. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have the Iron Jaws, who are the biggest and baddest Uruks in the mortal realms, always seeking bigger opponents to crump down to size. These options give you a wide variety of models to choose from that also allows you to find what fits your playstyle, whether it's more calculated mix of range and melee or just charging headlong straight at the enemy. There will be something here for you. Plus some amazing centerpieces and of course a big pig.
Yes, the big pig.
Last of all, we come to the Sons of Behemat. When they are on the move, all would do well to flee in terror. These gargantuan louts
these guys are just like Imperial Knights
and squash entire armies for the boneheaded joy of it. Each is worth many times their own number of lesser warriors, and with every year they get larger, more boisterous, and more violent. Bellowing, stomping, and crushing all before them, the Sons of Behemat are all but impossible to stop. Though they owe allegiance to no man, many are mercenaries and fight all across the mortal realms. On the charge, a group of Gargantua can flatten a battle line whilst only suffering flesh wounds and the odd broken toe in return. For 40k players, this will feel very much like Imperial Knights. A very low model count force depending on how many of the mega gargants you take over the smaller ones, but with that you're getting an incredibly tough army that moves forward and destroys everything in its path. It's a great army to play, as having the limited number of war scrolls and being pretty resilient means that you can really focus on playing the game rather than lots of complicated rules. One thing to note is these are all pretty large centerpiece models, so it'll certainly be a challenge to get them painted up to a decent standard. Hopefully this has helped you to understand all of the different races available to you for your first Age of Sigmar army, and I'd be very surprised if there's only one that you liked. From here you can dive in further with learning more about the lore of each.
There you have it, AOS. Yeah, man, I personally am a Seraphon and Kharadron fan. I love both of those armies. I'm gonna be honest, I do have some Blades of Corn miniatures as well. I don't really plan on starting that faction once I actually get into AOS, but they look cool. they do look very cool. Down the line, I plan on starting World Eaters at some point, so I do kind of by default have to buy some Blades of Corn miniatures, like the demons. I know as of right now, demons are only playable in one detachment for World Eaters, I think. But hopefully next edition, all of the corn demons get put into the codex, and then we can have a little more fun with them. But yeah, right here, I'm gonna bring you back, guys, back over here. Hello. Let me just resume this music as we close out our night tonight. Okay, so let me just check something real quick. Let me just check. Oh my god. Have you guys ever watched Bar Rescue? Have you guys ever watched Bar Rescue? I've been watching it lately. It's so funny. It's so goddamn funny, dude. It's one of the funniest shows I think I have ever watched. It's just seeing like the Gordon Ramsay of bars show up and just yell at people to get their shit together. It's so funny. And I mean, there's honestly part of it that's like, why, like, what am I trying to say? Right, so, it's always really cool to see, like, because, like, they have little, like, portions of each episode, like, after everything's all said and done, that's like, oh yeah, after this happened, like, after this episode happened, this bar hit the shitter, or this bar is doing really well and it's still open, or, you know, stuff like that. There was an episode that I watched where instead of going to a bar, he went to a strip club. Oh, he went to a strip club and, like, helped this strip club. It was so weird, and I was like, kind of trashy, but okay. It was, yeah, no, it was funny though, because, like, the end result looked so cool. Like the remodel that they did was amazing. But then the place, I'm pretty sure the place just, like, shut down after like 6 months, which is unfortunate because it looked really cool. Let me actually show you. Hang on. Is it like closed? I think it's like closed. Yeah, so the club was losing $5 grand a month, and the strippers all sucked at their jobs. So there was a whole, like, all right, guys, you gotta not suck at your job. And they brought in, like, a professional stripper, like some chick who had been in the industry for like a bajillion years, and she, like, taught them stuff. It was so weird. But it was like a whole thing. And it was yeah, it was a whole thing. So there was a whole, Oof. It's hard to tell whether the changes actually made patrons happier, as not many people review strip clubs on Yelp. However, it appears that either way, the changes weren't enough to save the club. It closed for good in June 2016, which is only around 7 months after the episode aired. Ugh. It was listed for sale with an asking price of 600 grand. The price included the liquor license, topless license, land, and all equipment. So there's now a place there that's called... Hang on. I'm looking at like Google Maps right now, trying to... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh my god. So on Google Maps right now, it has a for sale sign. That's here. Let me just show you guys. Oh shit, hang on. Hi, are you gonna work? Hang on. Why are you not working? That's annoying. Hang on a second. Bruh. Okay, well, it doesn't want me to show it. Hang on just a second. Oh my god, I hate having to do this. I love having to remake a freaking Windows source every 2 seconds. Okay, right here, right? So this looks dingy as fuck right now. I mean, it got sold, so I guess that makes sense. But like, okay, look at this. Look at what it used to look like. This was okay. That's not really. That's just a generic. Okay, it's not giving me anything. But it was something like this. It looked really nice. I love how it just has pictures of power strips too. That's funny. But now it's all like, ugh. And it's for sale, which is very unfortunate. But according to this article, for a time it was occupied by a new club called the Charmed Gentleman Club. Is that still a thing? Let me look. Was this like a real thing? Closed. Let me see if it's... This location has closed. Okay, so it's not a thing anymore. Alright, word. Yeah, I love Bar Rescue, man. It's so fun. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave tonight. I had fun watching some more Warhammer videos with you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out. For those of you who are new here, why don't you leave a like on the stream on your way out the door? It really helps out. And leave a sub if you're interested in seeing more content from me. If you're over on Twitch, why not drop a follow? Really helps me out as well. We're working on the road to affiliate, so that's what that's the current roadmap right now. And just as a reminder, by the way, music is coming. I've got a few different covers that I'm working on recording right now. The first one is all done and recorded. I'm just waiting on like one more thing, and then I can post it, and then it's gonna be awesome. So right after that one, then there's gonna be another one in about another another little bit. But I have a whole like I hesitate to call it like a set list because it's not really like a set list, but that's just kind of what I've been calling it. I have a whole list of tracks that I want to cover, and it's gonna be awesome, and I'm really excited to release them. But unfortunately, you guys are gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I am very antsy to release the one that I have recorded. It's gonna be awesome, and you guys are gonna love it. Oh my god, it's gonna be peak. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, no stream tomorrow because I am working all day tomorrow. It's oh god. I don't even think there's gonna be an album. It's probably just gonna be single releases, man. Maybe I'll do like, and maybe depending on how much I have, maybe I'll do just like maybe I'll release like a cover album that's just like an album of those ones, I guess. Maybe I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. That is way further down the road. That is way further down the road. But yeah, so no stream tomorrow. There will be a stream on Friday and probably Saturday. So until then, I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you all for hanging out with me so much. I always appreciate coming on here and talking to you guys every night. And I will catch you guys later. Good night, guys. Bye.